Good afternoon. It's once again 5:30 on a Friday, and this is your host for the next 25 minutes of Hotline 21. Let me tell you, it is cold outside. If it's never been cold before. And it's not that the weather seemed to be so bad, but the wind is just cutting, and the wind chill factor. My feet don't usually get cold walking from my car to inside, but it just did, but I ain't gonna worry about it. If it's cold, it's cold. Ain't nothing you can do about the weather. We've been talking about global warming and all of the things that we need to do, but it's cold. So let's have a little serious dialogue on a Friday. All kind of things are taking place in our country, in our city, in our town. Let me just say that, first of all, John Dingell, who was the Dean of the House of Representatives, Dean of the Congress, until he left. And then, of course, he left, and John Conyers became the dean. And there was actually a group of people in Michigan. All of them pretty much went into politics and got elected around the same time. The Levin brothers, Sandy Levin, and his brother, who was in the Senate, Carl Levin. Sandy was on the Ways and Means Committee in the House. Carl was the chairman of the Armed Services Committee in the Senate. Jake Kildee was also, he retired, I guess 3-4 years ago, and his nephew became the congressman from that area. And so they were a group of lions, and they shepherded much of the legislation. Michigan was the automobile capital of the world. And I am delighted to make an announcement. So I met with the gentleman last night, but Ford Motor Company is getting ready to invest in Chicago into their operation. Ford invests $1 billion in Chicago plants. It will create 500 new jobs to launch the Explorer, Police Interceptor, and Lincoln Aviator. Ford invests $1 billion in Chicago assembly and stamping plants and adds 500 jobs to expand capacity for the production of all new Ford Explorer, Police Interceptor, Utility, and Lincoln Aviator. New investments in advanced manufacturing technology and workforce training at the plant will help Ford deliver better quality vehicles to customers more quickly. Ford is spending $40 million to make the Chicago assembly and stamping better places to work, including new LED lighting and cafeteria updates and all of that. Well, I happened to sit at the table with one of the executives from Ford last night, and of course we were all talking happy talk. And it just happened that tomorrow at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be out at the UAW local at 13550 South Torrance to talk about unity in the community and talk about black culture. It's their Black History celebration, and I'm excited and delighted to be there. And of course, Sunday, the Chinese Americans have their big event, and tomorrow night there's another big event. I'm going to try to make as many of these as I possibly can, but we'll see what happens. And I announced the death of Congressman John Dingell, whose funeral is going to be Tuesday. He's the longest serving member of Congress. Almost 60 years John will have served. And his father served in that seat, I think, for 28 years. And his wife, Debbie Dingell, is now serving in that seat. And of course, she is well qualified and is one of the solid members of Congress. But I just want to thank John, because when I first went to Congress, John handled much of the health legislation. And although I was never on the health committee, I would often get a chance and wanted to speak on health issues. And he would be handling that on the floor for the Democrats and would often provide me with an opportunity to speak. When you get ready to debate a bill on the floor of the House of Representatives, usually each side gets 30 minutes to debate the bill on the floor. Now, there may have been lots of hearings and things will have gone on before a bill is going to be debated on the floor. They're generally debated for 1 hour, 30 minutes on each side. There are 435 members of the House. And so a lot of people will be wanting to say something during that 30-minute period of time. Well, John Dingell often gave me an opportunity to say something on those health bills, even though I was not a member of the Committee on Energy and Commerce, which handled most health legislation that got debated on the floor. So I thank you, John Dingell, for your sensitivity to my need. I thank you for your friendship and for your relationship. And now we'll go and take this first call. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, you're coming, David.
James, I am doing good, just kind of cold, but other than that, I do all right.
Yeah, I thank God be asking your prayers, because everything is coming out now, and it's still going to come out.
Yeah, things keep coming and keep coming. But you know, the one thing about all of it is that the world keeps going on and on. When I first got a job where I was running something, there was a fellow who worked for me. His name was Manuel, and Manuel would often clean up my office or clean up the office there. And when Manuel would come in to do that, he'd walk over to my office and say, "Mr. Dave, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing all right, Manuel." And Manuel would say, "Let me tell you something. Heap sees, but mighty few knows. Heap comes, but a mighty few goes. He said, who will be the last man? He said, there will be no last man. The world will go on and on and on. And I think Manuel was on to something, because I think what he was saying is that no matter what the problems are, what the needs are, no matter how cold it gets, we will go on, and different people will get recycled. People will come and they will go. They will live and they will die. And they ought to try to be as useful as they can be while they're here. Thank you so much. We'll take our next caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, Congressman. And well, it's a great day to be on God's green earth. But I think about what you just said all the time. You know, we try to do things in life. We try to make things a little bit better. Even there are people that's chaos agents that want to keep on messing up the things. A lot of people don't want to see things, but that's just all part of life. But one thing for sure, like you said, we're going to die. And I wonder what goes on then. I used to always wonder that, but now I know. The same thing is going to go over and over and over until the day he come down and change things. I saw you at the State of the Union, and you thought that maybe I was going to call you and talk about that. Well, let me tell you. What I call to talk about is this. Today was a part of a new day. Did you see what Whitaker got today? And this is not going to stop. He stated that in the union. Well, man, you haven't seen nothing yet. Everything that you could ever dream or think about is going to come. And one thing for sure, you can't keep on lying. Like James always say, it's going to come out. Everything is going to come out. I would love to see his face. But again, I called to tell you, you are one heck of a guy. I read the paper this week. It was, I forgot which paper. It could have been the Sun-Time or the Trail. And you was in the paper about, I didn't know that you had was offered some of these commissions when you was in office here in the city. I just want to say one thing. Temptation is something. It takes a great person to fight temptation. You are one hell of a guy.
Well, I really appreciate and thank you for that. We used to sing a song like at church that said, yield not to temptation, for yielding is sin. Each victory will help you, some others to win. Fight manfully onward, dark passions subdue. Look ever to Jesus, and he will carry you through. And I must confess, that was like one of our main songs growing up. And that has helped me a lot. I mean, it really has. I mean, everybody is faced with all kinds of temptations. I'm saying, even if it's nothing but running this red light when ain't nobody looking, and you say, well, I don't see no policemen around. I probably can get away with this one. But then you'll decide, well, you're not supposed to run it. And so even though you can get away, ain't no point. Go ahead and wait. I got a ticket one time. A policeman gave me a ticket. I kind of stopped at the stop sign and made a dip and then kept going. And I said, well, what did I do? He said, you made a Hollywood stop. And I said, what is that? He says, a fake stop. And so when I'm on the street, there's a stop sign, ain't nobody near, ain't nobody looking, I still will stop fully and then go on and drive past. So all of those things do help. I haven't read that paper, but I'm going to try to get it and read it, and thank you. Thank you so much. Caller, are you here?
Hello, Dr. Davis, U.S. Representative, 7th District. What I want to comment about this wall, a certain somebody want, and there's a difference between a wall and border security. And what this person want to do is not the American way at all. And he's using a group of people as a scapegoat. If you notice, he want a wall built along a certain area. Now, you're going to build a wall. Do it right. You don't hear about no wall being built along the Canada borderline. Why? Because look at the pigmentation of their skin. And you look at the pigmentation along the people of the southern border, they are used like scapegoat. And you always got to have somebody you can use you can victimize. And he's using a certain group of people. He have called them murderers and rapists and so forth and all that. And he talking about make America great. He is not the one to make America great at all, because America was always great.
Well, let me ask you, if I could, what's your position on immigration? I mean, are you afraid of the people who come into this country, that they're making the country worse? Or do you welcome them? Or do you want to keep them out or let them in?
We've been known as a people, and what makes us great is we allow people to come in to make us greater. And we look at a lot of immigrants that come here, most of them want to be productive, useful members of society. They want to contribute to it. And when you look at one of the best neurosurgeons in the world, he used to be a person that was hopping the fence along Los Angeles. And look what that man have done in terms to contribute to our society. And we have a lot of immigrants that contribute a lot. And we look at America, only natural American in this country is the Native American. Everybody else came here, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. They're the only ones that they ain't hollering about kicking people out. So what give somebody else the right, like Trump, to tell we got to get rid of these people?
Well, I agree with you, and that we have to sacrifice some and create enough work and work opportunities. Let me ask you, the state Senate just passed a bill to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It was introduced, of course, by State Senator Kimberly Lightfoot, who is the majority leader of the Democrats. She grew up on the west side of Chicago, lives in Maywood, and other than the president of the Senate, she is now the second in command. What do you think about that raising the minimum wage?
Well, some people may want to disagree with me about it. That's their opinion. Why not have free community college and even have free state college where you can get your paperwork together, you can have an education where you can demand your own salary, and you don't have to depend on somebody telling you this is how much you can make. And like I said, I'm for making people much more independent when they can command their salary.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we've got another caller trying to get in. So let me take this next caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. I want to congratulate you so much for being that historian that you are. You just like, I'm on the South Side. You just like our Tim Black on the South Side. You are one hell of a great individual. You're more than just a congressman. You can even testify. You can preach about the Bible. See, this is what we need. We need energy that you are able to provide to us. And I want you to continue on because you are a blessing. And we need to understand it's a new day with the media, and stop depending on the media to be our voices. We have to be our own individual voice. Look in the mirror sometime, and we will stop being haters.
Well, let me just thank you for any comparison to Tim Black. I was with Tim 2 Sundays ago. Tim's 100 years old, made a great speech at the Third Unitarian Church. And it was so great until I asked them, did you all tape this? Because Tim's voice, to be 100 years old, was as clear as a bell. And so they say they're going to get me a copy of the tape, and I'm going to bring it and play it one Friday afternoon.
Also, Congressman, when Benny Stewart died, Tim Black and I both spoke. He was a hell of a historian back there then. This is what I'm talking about. It's not time to sit down and tell the kids to sit down and shut up. Listen to these kids and be a smile on your face. And you got it. And thank you so much for being there for all of us. Not only in Chicago, but in the United States.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you. I remember Congressman Danny Stewart. He became the congressman after Congressman Metcalf died. He didn't last that long. And then Harold took that seat, and the rest, of course, is history. Caller, are you there?
Yes, Congressman. Listen, I know it's running short on time, but listen, I know you're supposed to make your nomination, who you going to support. I made mine yesterday, and I'd like to know who have you came up with.
I got a meeting with the group I've been working with on tomorrow, and we're going to decide then. So we haven't decided yet. But I've decided, I don't want to say until I meet with the group. So I'll have that next Friday. Well, actually, we're going to announce it before next Friday, probably. But we're going to meet tomorrow, and we're deciding tomorrow. And also, there's a big... the Westside NAACP is having a big mayoral forum tomorrow. I think it's at 1 o'clock. I'm not totally sure. Crystal, do you know the address where that's at? The NAACP forum tomorrow? All right, well, if someone calls my office, if you want to know where it's at, you can call. Somebody is there, and that number is 773-533-7520. And I know Gator Bradley is coming up in a minute. Maybe Gator will have the address, or maybe we'll get the address to Gator, and he can announce it. So it's tomorrow. It's at Malcolm X College, and you say 1 o'clock?
Yes.
All right, it's at 1 o'clock tomorrow at Malcolm X College. So if you want to hear some of these things, last things people are saying, come on out and listen and be a part of it. I want to thank all of you for listening. I want to thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. And I'm not going to worry about it being cold. I'm just going to get on out and do what I got to do and walk fast enough to try not to freeze. So until then, stay inside as much as you can, but get out as much as you need to. How about that? See you next week.